Hi guys, Dazzie here, another episode of my top 20 selling comic books of the week. This time it's episode 27. Today I'm going to be discussing the best selling books on eBay for the week of the 21st of June 2019. Basically, since coverprice.com came on the scene, they've quickly become a go-to spot for watching eBay trends on comics, and they scour thousands of eBay sales to culminate data to spotlight the hottest selling comics. Here is this week's top 20, guys. This is the third time of me trying to film this. I've got to the end a couple of times and it's breaking my heart because I'm running out of space. Let's speed it up. Let's see if you can beat me, guys. Most people normally do. Starting in at number 20 on our list is a book I don't own. And the book in question, guys, is this one. Moon Knight, issue number 1. People seem to be warming to this book because for a lot of people now, Werewolf by Night, issue 32, is out of a lot of people's price ranges. That book is skyrocketing, which is obviously the first appearance of Moon Knight. So they're settling in on this one. I'm glad to have the first appearance of Moon Knight in my collection, one of my big boy books. Fingers crossed, because people are speculating that, and it's been rumoured for some time, that he is going to be making a live action appearance. I think most recently he was due to appear in one of the Marvel Netflix shows. Of course, that is just cancelled, which is sad. I'm watching Jessica Jones at the moment, which is fantastic stuff. Please, Marvel, make this film happen. There's a lot of love from Moon Knight, which is a little bit surprising because, like I said, he's not appeared in live action, just a few animated appearances. Well, that book has sold 16 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 137%. And a high sale CGC 9.8 just sold for $240. Good book. I passed on it several times for 5 and 10. Will I ever get it? I'm not sure. I think it's the first appearance of, is it one villain, I think? Is it Bush something or other, I think. Number 19 on our list is a book I own. It's a bit of a store on our list. It sells every week. This is Spawn, issue number 1. Yeah, it's mass produced, but it's got a market. It's the first solo Spawn title. Now, I think he first appears in Malibu Sun, issue 13. But Spawn is Albert Francis or Al Simmons. It's also the first appearance in this book of Jason Wynn, Mel Bogia, and Wanda Fitzgerald, who also appeared in that Spawn film from the 1990s. Now, this book is heating up because there is supposedly at some point we're getting a new Spawn film starring Jamie Foxx, and I think Jeremy Renner too. But it keeps getting put on the back burner. It's also the first appearance of Sam and Twitch in this one, and this was the second title published by by Image Comics, and nice Todd McFarlane cover and art. Well, this book sold 18 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 125%, and a high sale CGC 9.8 just sold for $125. I paid grand total of £1.31, thanks to the legend. That is Car Boot Tony. Good grade too. Number 18 on our list is a book that I'm surprised is getting a bit of trend because I can't really understand why. The book in question is X Factor, issue number 6. I just sold a copy of this alongside issue number 5 for about 30, I think. A book from 1986. This is, of course, the first full appearance of Apocalypse, who was N. Sabah Nur, who first made his live-action appearance in the end post-credit scene of the good X-Men Days of Future Past movie, and then in the not-so-good, he was the main villain in X-Men Apocalypse. Those two movies. I just picked up the box set after watching Dark Phoenix because I enjoyed Dark Phoenix too. I know a lot of people didn't, but I'm surprised. Yeah, it's not canon fodder. It's not strictly sticking to the comics, but if you just take it as a film, I enjoyed it. So this book sold 28 copies this past week, the 7-day trend of plus 97%, and a high sale 9.8 just sold CGC for $218. Now, this book took a big dip after the Apocalypse film, but it's just a matter of time, I think, before he appears in the MCU, because with the X-Men, surely Apocalypse being one of their main villains is going to turn up, so that book should get a timely boost again. Number 17 on our list is another book that is another week in, week out seller. It is, of course, Ultimate Fallout, issue number 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales. And of course, the star of that fantastic animated feature Into the Spider-Verse, which won Globes and Oscars. It's from 2011, the book, and it's sold 28 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 97%, and a high sale CGC 9.8 sold for $355. I paid £13.90 for mine just before my birthday in 2018 in March, and passed on another copy recently for, I think I could have got it for 15, and kicking myself, really am. I passed it on to my friend. I'm a good guy like that. Number 16 on our list is another book that I've just acquired. It is Eternals issue number 2, and the book that is trended is the 25-cent variant, but I don't have that. I'm going with my pence copy. It's from 1976, and of course this is the first appearance of the Celestials, and you can't have an Eternals movie because that's in production without the Celestials. It's also the first appearance of Ajak, who is Teko Motsin, and the first appearance of Aris Hum, the Judge. Now, this book sold 22 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 147%, and a CGC 9.6 just sold for $280. I paid 10 quid for mine recently, and it is mid-grade. It's got a colour breaking crease, but yeah, happy to have that. I've got a nice run of all the early Eternals now. Number 15 on our list is a big boy book, and it's one that's not appeared before, I believe. And the book in question is, bear with me, I will get it up now. It is from the 1968 series. It is the big boy book, that is Invincible Iron Man, issue number 1. Yeah. Probably trending due to the fact of Tony Stark, of course, sadly dying in Endgame, and how they're going to recover, I don't know going forwards, because he is the main heartbeat of that MCU. But Robert Downey Jr. has just said that he would like to see Riri don the costume at some point going forwards. So be on the lookout for, I think it's Invincible Iron Man issues 7 and 9, cameo in full. But that had some nice sales this week, it really did. It sold 15 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 224%, and a high sale CGC 9.6 just sold for how much? Have a guess. $7,000, guys. Unbelievable. I think I've seen very few of these. I think I had an opportunity once for about 200 quid for a mid-grade copy. Didn't have the coin at the time, which I did now. Number 14 on our list is a book that is heating up due to a main character getting shot. Yes, the book in question is The Walking Dead, issue number 191, the second printing, guys, the second printing. Yep, after numerous attempts of trying to kill off Rick Grimes, they've actually done it. And he got shot in that issue by basically a nobody. So he survives multiple zombie attacks and whatever else is thrown at him, and gets killed pretty sadly, really, I think. Well, that book obviously is a consolation prize that missed out on the first printing. It sold 27 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 128%, and a high sale raw just sold for $20, guys. $20. I think that's a long-term hold, issues 191 and 192. And talking 192, number 13 on our list is Walking Dead, issue 192, the blank variant. And of course, with Comic Con season upon us, people are picking these up to get Rick Death commissions. And I picked up my copy because I'm going to get my daughter to do one for me. Because, yeah, for Father's Day just gone, she said she will do this for me. And she is a budding illustrator, that Cryptic Wolf, if you want to look her up on Instagram, Cryptic Wolf Art, and she does a lot of good illustrations. She starts selling at cons as well, my daughter, and selling in a local shop, antique shop down the road. Now, this, of course, is from this year. It is the death of Rick Grimes. Yeah, he dies, becomes a zombie, and is killed again. It sold 30 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of a plus 120%, and a high sale raw just sold for $18. I paid £3.50 for that, and it's the only copy I found in multiple shops. Number 12 on our list is some more goodness from Alex Ross and, of course, Al Ewing. It is Immortal Hulk issue number 19, and a pretty cool Abomination cover. I've got the first appearance of Abomination. I'm really happy to own that book too. Got it for cheap. But it sold 28 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 139%, and a high sale raw again sold for $18. Yeah, I don't pick up any more Immortal Hulk. I've got the main keys of this series, and yeah, I'm just running out of space. But like I say, I'm a big fan of Al Ewing. Like I've said before, I met him, signed 28 books for me that day. Had a great conversation about Immortal Hulk. He had written, I think, 5 issues before it had come out at that point, and was excited for the future. And what a storyline it is. Now, on to number 11, and our first runner-up on our list is heating up because it is rumoured to be the next big bad of the MCU. And the book in question, guys, is Giant Size Defenders, issue 3. Now, I've known about this book for some time, and I have been on the lookout at cons, but with no joy. And the reason this book is heating up, the villain is supposedly going to be Korvac. Yeah, Korvac. And Korvac is, I think he's a guy that gets meshed up with a computer. So make of it what you will, but that is meant to be our next big bad. Now, I've not made a hot comic book alert on it yet because we've had no concrete proof, but it sold 17 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 232%, and a high sale CGC 8.5 just sold for $250. Wow. So now, guys, we are into our big top 10. And starting in at number 10 on our list is a book that's heating up for quite some considerable money, and I'm not really sure why. It is Batman and Robin Adventures, issue number 1. Well, of course, this is the second appearance of the Phantasm, the star of that Mask of Phantasm animated feature back in the day. I've got it in my collection, a good film. But a second appearance? The story picks up after the animated film. It's a cool character though, and it sold 21 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 237%, and a high sale raw, crazily, just went for $100. I wouldn't pay 10 for that, but there is a market for it. If you got it, good luck. Number 9 on our list is a book that is always selling, guys. It is, of course, Eternals number 1. Yes, and I have 2 copies. The 25-cent variant issue is the one that is trending from 1976. This is the first appearance and origin of the Eternals team, of course. It's the first appearance of Icarus, that is supposedly going to be played by one of the Game of Thrones actors. And the film is going to be, I think, based on his love affair with Cersei by Angelina Jolie. Played by Angelina Jolie. It's also the first appearance of Brother Toad, Margot Damien, the Deviants team, Catarax, Dr. Damien, Vira, and the first mention of the Celestials, of course, who appears in issue number 2. Now, Eternals is definitely coming. It is going to be one of the main films of the next phase from Marvel. Now, I think that's basically one of the only ones that's been confirmed, along with Black Widow. I'm excited for that too. I've got Tales of Suspense, issue 52. It sold 67 copies this book this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 98%, and a high sale 9.8 just sold for $1,240. Crazy stuff. I mean, this was a dollar bin book probably a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Paid £14.95 the day this was announced that we were getting a film, and that was January, March, April the 12th, 2018, and paid 12 for that copy, which is slightly worse because it's got a bit of a tape pull up here, but I'm sure I can make some coin on that nearer the date. Number 8 on our list, more Walking Dead, the first printing to issue 191. Like I said, Rick Grimes got shot, but a lot of people thought he would get better, but he didn't. So people have Kirkman has said they will wrap up shortly after the end of Grimes. So a good place for me, like I said, would be issue 200. I don't think that'd be the case. They'll still probably be churning them out at issue 1000. But like I said, this book is where he gets shot and the book ends on a cliffhanger because we didn't know whether he would live or die. It sold 58 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 125% and a high sale CGC 9.8 already has sold for $200. I'm not a big Walking Dead collector, but I did like the character of Rick Grimes. So I'm holding 191 and 192. I've got a couple of 192s up for sale. Shameless plug. Now, number 7 on our list is a book that has been hinted at being optioned. I've not made a hot book alert on it yet because there's no concrete proof. But with this rumour, sales have breathed fresh life into this series, and it is Die, issue number 1. This is the Hans variant. Basically, it's about a group of adults who have to face a terrifying unearthly visitor that was unleashed decades earlier during a role-playing game that they barely survived the first time around. Now, I read this. It's very Jumanji-like. It was okay. It didn't blow me away, but a lot of people are big fans. My friend Comic Vantage Lewis has all the printings, including the Virgin of issue 1. So he's going to do very well. But this book sold 53 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 115% and a high sale CGC 9.8 just sold for $200. Number 6 on our list is a book that brings back both sad and happy memories to me. It is a book I picked up recently in the stealth buy for £3. It is Omega Man issue number 3, the first appearance of Lobo, and of course Lobo has just made his live-action debut in Krypton Season 2, and he's done so well that they are now going forward with a Lobo TV show on the Sci-Fi Channel. But for me, this is a character that really needs R-rated treatment and to be up on the big screen. It could be like DC's Deadpool if done right. I read that Michael Bay was attached to it at one point. I know with Transformers, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I was all for it. I wanted to see more Lobo. Well, at the moment we'll take what we can get. This book sold 79 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 119%, and a CGC 9.8 just sold for $270. Now, I paid £25 for this back in the back end of 2016, and I was in London, and I picked up this book, and I was so happy to get this book. It was up on the wall, and 25 quid was a steal because this is a nice, great book. And we were on a bus, and we coming home, and we got off the bus, went back to our place, and I don't know what happened, but I left the bag with the book on the bus. I was heartbroken. Went back, nobody had handed it in, nobody had seen it. This was alongside, there was a couple of silvers there, a bit of inferior, I can't remember, it was an old DC title, Inferior 5 is it, I think? And I think I picked up the first John Diggle from Arrow, because I was a big Arrow fan at the time. But this was the book that really hurt me, and coming home, driving home, I was so sad, I was inconsolable. But I had a phone call halfway home, and my missus took it, and somebody had handed the bag of comics in, so we rushed back, and I managed to save it. So I was so happy. And then, of course, I found one recently at a con for £3, which is now up for sale. But yeah, a great book, that. Great character, Lobo. So, number 5 on our list, more Walking Dead. This is the regular cover from Charlie Adlard and Dave Stewart. Of course, Walking Dead fans are still processing Rick's death, with many not believing it would actually happen. And fans scrambled to find copies out, and after it did, it sold 115 copies. Wow! At a 7-day trend of plus 91%, and a high sale roll just sold for $19. Paid £3.50 for this copy, and I got 2 more up for sale. But on Comic Book Realm, it's $191 that is up to $15, and this one is trending at $10 at the moment. So it's the $191, but is the better book at the moment. But the two make a nice set, and I will be holding them. Number 4 on our list is a book I've been looking out for some time, because a little while ago the creator sadly died, Anthony Bourdain, which really pushed this book up in value. And the book in question from Dark Horse is this one, guys. Hungry Ghosts issue 1. Now, I made a hot comic book alert on this recently because this one has just been optioned by Sony Pictures Animation. Yeah, it's going to be a movie, I believe. And with this news, it sold 21 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 574%, and a high sale rate of $25. Now, animated films take a long time to make, so the market has responded conservatively, but I think that's a good book, guys, because I've heard good things about it as a read as well. Sad news on the creator. Now, number 3 on our list, guys, is more Phantasm, and we're talking Mask of the Phantasm, Batman the Animated Movie, the deluxe version comic. Okay, and that book, of course, is from 1993, and this is the Phantasm is coming to DC canon by Mr. Tom King. With his tweeted teases, the Phantasm's first appearance in comics has sold 105 copies this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 233%, and a high sale raw just sold for $90. That was a CGC a high sale of $90, CGC 9.4 just sold into the top 2, guys. And we start, of course, with another hot comic book alert, and that is Oblivion Song, issue 1, the standard covers. And the standard cover sold more copies than the pink signature. Now, this is got the green, and there is one, it's slightly more sought after with the pink. But this one had 132 sales this past week at a 7-day trend of plus 271%, and a high sale CGC 9.8 sold for $120. Is a tiny pink signature worth $80 more though? We'll find out. Might have started something there. So on to number 1. It's Oblivion Song. Issue number 1. It is the pink signature variant. I know my friend Lyric Magic Moments picked up one recently. This has just been optioned, of course, by Universal, with Kirkman's company Skybound producing, and it's very likely going to be made, that one. It sold 87 copies this past week, had a 7-day trend of plus 600%, and a high sale CGC 9.8 sold for $200. Guys, I have 11 out of the 20 this week. Let's see if you can beat me. Most people do, but I've put up some good numbers. Come and get me, guys. Thanks to all my subscribers, I'm at a record 697. If you like what you see, please push me over the 700 mark. I'll be getting a competition out at some point. That's Daz, over and out. Bye for now.